hello. If you're watching this video, that probably means that you have purchased one of my repair kits for the Jaeger-LeCoultre, or as some people say, Jaeger-LeCoultre lamppost clocks. I'm Troy McHenry, also known as the Grumpy Collector. I love these clocks. I have 7 of them. I had quite a few that were broken. I couldn't find parts, so I took it upon myself to work with a machine shop in Virginia that specializes in Swiss lathe machining to recreate these parts. And I am just thrilled with how well they came out. Each kit comes with 1 threaded custom rod and 2 custom machined screws. They are stainless steel. You can really torque these down much tighter than the original ones, so it's an improvement. But in every other respect besides material, they are exactly 1 for 1, as you can see here. Here's a good comparison of the vintage ones in brass and the vintage one in steel compared to the new ones that I had created. Really did this as a passion project for the community, and I hope everyone appreciates it and gets a lot of use out of these. I hate seeing all of these clocks on eBay and elsewhere where they wobble, and it's no surprise because these clocks really were not, they just have a little bit of design flaws from a material standpoint, and then when you wind it, you really are applying a lot of torque on that bottom screw that has to hold everything together. So I also took the time to do a little video. So here's one where you can see it has that wobble to it. I call it the little hula shake. Some people maybe call it the death wobble. But you can see here that really, even if you're not a watchmaker, these are pretty easy to work with. You really just need 2 flathead screwdrivers. On the back here, I'm using one that's approximately 1.5 millimeters. In standard sizes, that's about, I think, 1/16 of an inch. And so first what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew where you wind the clock. There's just 1 screw for that piece. And you just unscrew that, and then the little tab that you would flip out to wind the watch, you just pull straight up, and that comes right out. You'll notice then you also have a mechanism here, and that is to turn, can't remember if this is an alarm one. Yeah, this is an alarm one. That's to turn on and off the alarm. And then right here in the middle too, you'll see where there's 3 little screws that just hold on that back plate. So those are pretty easy to take off. And again, this isn't like working on a watch where you're working with really small screws. I mean, these are small, but they're not, they're about the size of like eyeglass screws, so nothing too crazy. And you can see that cover comes off. Now you have the movement, and the way the movement is held in is just with 2 little screws. You can see I'm pointing to one right now, and there's a little flange under that screw, so the screw kind of holds these 2 clips in. Now here's a pro tip, because I have made this mistake before. Don't undo the screw entirely, because then that flange and screw will come out. Just loosen it and then slide that little flange over. You'll see it later when I put it back in. But again, here you can see the construction, right? And that's funny too. There was a little piece loose in there. That's actually the stud for the post. It's an index point, so the whole top can't spin around, but you can see it's been spinning here. And again, you can see the screw, it's worn out. No surprise too, this was a repair job someone did many, many years ago, not using the right parts or the right thread, which kind of drives me crazy. And again, the kit comes with that long threaded piece for the top, so that helps you put the lamp piece together. All those pieces kind of stack in, and there's a screw there on the top. In this particular model, you can see in this example, it was already pretty firm. The only one that really needs fixing is the bottom one. And so that's why you get 2 screws and then that long custom threaded piece. But I would tell you, if you have it out like this, you might as well replace and use all 3 pieces. Why not? And then here I am using a flathead screwdriver. Here's really where you do want kind of a longer one. I think this one is like maybe a 1/8 inch screwdriver. You need something, you're kind of doing it at an angle, so you just need to be careful. Take your time. Here you can see me taking out, and again, look at that. That is in no way what that screw should look like. It should look exactly like the one in my kit. And even the original ones, they fail, and that's why so many of these have been repaired over the years and repaired with substandard parts, is because the original screws that weren't stainless steel, they were kind of a softer metal, and if you over torque them, they snap all the time. Again, ask me how I know that. I've done it a couple of times trying to repair them myself with the original screws, and again, this is why I took quite a bit of time, over a year, thinking about and then finding the right machine shop to create these parts for me. And again, I cannot be more pleased with how these parts turned out. I mean, these screws especially, right? They are a very special type. They have to be angled at the top so you can, get that wedge force to really hold things together. Here you're seeing too, you can see kind of at the top on the post itself, right where that street sign is, it needs that little index pin put back, and I think I've already done it here at this point. Also, while you have it off, this is a great time to clean the crystal. Really, it's just a piece of acrylic or plexiglass, so just clean that. I'm using a little Nikon brush here because you're going to put the movement back in. So this is really the best time to do that. And again, I'm just kind of seeing how everything is going to fit together, and then putting in that new replacement screw. And you can see right where that screw is, you saw the little hole there, and that again is for that little index pin on the bottom post. That way it doesn't turn even when it's tightened together. And you can start it typically, if the threads aren't bad on the post, you can just start it with your fingers or use that screwdriver again to screw it back together. Okay, now we have it in. It's nice and tight, just making sure everything's nice and straight on it. And now at this point, this is where you're going to want to, just check both screws, the top and the bottom one. You don't want to have to do this again if you can help it. And you can see there I'm even tapping on it. You really should be able to get these pretty tight. Yep, looks good to me. Now, what you're going to want to do, and this is the tricky part, is you want to put it back together, but again, you don't really want to just lay it on the table, because you're already going to start putting force back on that screw you just replaced. And so my kind of trick is I try to rest it on something, because again, that base is so wide that you just want to think about, okay, how can you add some support? Also here, before I put it in, you're seeing, since you have the movement and the dial out, this is a great time to clean it if there's any dust or signs of aging on it. And again, you can see right here, if you just lay it down, you're gonna create a lot of tension on that. So here, what I've done is I've put a little screwdriver right on that kind of notch on the lamppost, and that's providing some additional support. And again, here you see I'm pointing out this see that little flange there that just spins out. And what's great is once you put the movement in and you get it recessed fully in, you just want to slide those out with a screwdriver or with tweezers, and then tighten the screws. And what's great is the way it's designed. As you tighten the screw, it kind of slides it out on its own too. There's also a little indent in the case and with the movement, so there's really just one way. Slide it back and forth, and you'll feel it kind of drop in, and that way you also know that everything is straight, right? That's the other thing you want to check for. And again, this video is not about actually regulating the movement or anything like that. This is really just around repairing these lamppost clocks, just from a structural standpoint, we could say. And now we've got the movement in, we've got it seated fully in that case, and now it's just a matter of tightening those two screws and those flanges. Make sure they're in that little recessed ring. That's going to really help so the movement doesn't come out. Because even all these screws now with the back plate you're putting on, like if the flange isn't right, the whole thing can still fall out, right? Even with these screws now that are being screwed in, right? Because you still need a way to attach all of this to the actual lamppost, and that's where those two flanges and those two screws at the very bottom of the main plate of the movement really come into play. So now it's just a simple order of just reinstalling everything in reverse. So putting those three screws back here, and then in this particular one, this is an alarm movement. That's the other thing. There's really 4 different movements in these clocks. And so your back may look a little different, your movement may look a little different, but really they all work exactly the same way. They all have 2 kind of screws with those little wings or flanges to lock in the movement to the case. Whether you have a 12-hour or 24 alarm model, or if you just have a time-only model of these clocks, it's going to be pretty straightforward. The only difference is you're just going to have fewer pieces to put back here, because you won't have that alarm function. You'll just really have this right here. Again, putting the screw back on the winding key. And I really hope that this video also, even if you're not a watchmaker, inspires you to try this. Or if you have a watch or clockmaker in your area and you want to buy this kit for them, hopefully they can also use this to help understand how these clocks are made, because they are a little bit different than other clocks, right? But again, I think these are so special, and there was a lot made. Yours may say LeCoultre, some may just say Jaeger. That really tells you if it was made for the U.S. or European markets. But these clocks are just so special. Here I'm trying to make sure there's an arrow indicator on that piece, so you want to make sure it's set the right way when you install it. So you just turn it back and forth between an alarm or silent. And then here it is. That one's winding the alarm. Yeah. But again, these clocks are just so special, and I just want to see so many of these improved and repaired the right way. I hate, again, seeing so many of these in parts bins or just wobbly, and here you can see it's all nice and solid. Again, you'll be able to find these repair kits on my website, thegrumpycollector.com, or on eBay. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. That's always the best way. At The Grumpy Collector, I have a public Instagram account, and I do check all my messages. And again, I can't thank you enough for your support if you've already gone ahead and bought one of these kits. I know they can seem a little pricey. It really cost me, thousands of dollars to get these parts custom machined, because I'm not doing a large order, right? And I only needed a couple for myself. So this really helps me, get back a little bit of that investment and hopefully help you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.